I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. The style of a recent email I received from a client made me laugh, even though the subject matter wasn't funny. This is what the email said. Hi, Rick. We received a letter from Discover denying an application for their credit card due to our credit history. We didn't apply for their card. I told my wife to throw it in the trash, but she's concerned this is attempted identity theft. Your thoughts? If you agree with me, she will rest easy. If you agree with her, I will hang my head and admit that she's right again. Now, if I received a similar notification by email, I'd simply ignore it as phishing. Usually the sender wants you to open an attachment, fill in your sensitive data, which is when the damage is done. But in this case, it was a snail mail letter telling them they were denied. I suggested they view their credit report and see if it showed a recent search of their report by Discover card. If so, they probably were the victims of attempted identity theft. A day later, the client emails this. Well, my wife wins. Discover confirmed that there was an attempt to acquire a credit card in my name. I'm mostly upset that I was declined. I placed a fraud alert and a credit freeze at all 3 credit bureaus. Now, placing a fraud alert and a credit freeze is exactly what experts would recommend. The client told me as he investigated what information Discover requires to apply for a card, and what he found out was that it's pretty simple. All they need is your zip code, the last 4 digits of your social security number, and your date of birth. With that information, Discover is authorized to obtain your mobile number from your wireless carrier, which gives them access to your name, address, phone number, and email address. Think about the social media places where you list your birthday and the city where you live. Your residence is obtainable from a simple Google search. And then think about how often you give someone the last 4 digits of your social security number. This data is not hard to get. Unfortunately, attempted identity theft is a way of life in 2023. And it has been for me personally for at least a decade. Every few months, on the average, either my wife or I have been the target of identity theft. According to a recent report by Wallet Hub, 2022's states most vulnerable to identity theft and fraud, South Dakota has the fewest identity theft complaints per 100,000 residents at 76. Rhode Island had the most, with 2,857. South Dakota also has the fewest fraud complaints per 100,000 residents, 549, compared to the highest, 1,701 in the District of Columbia. In addition to the state rankings, the article is well worth reading for its advice on preventing identity theft. Katina Michael, a professor at Arizona State University, advises caution in what you share online. She said, I've seen people post bank details on social media, their phone numbers, and much more. We've become lax, thinking that social media platforms are safe, or that certain pieces of information, even our full name, are not sensitive pieces of data. Fortunately, banks and credit card companies routinely pick up any losses incurred when a card is fraudulently used. I've never lost $1 in actual funds from identity theft. This doesn't mean no cost is involved. Shutting down the credit card or a bank account, getting a new number, having to set up any automatic payments all over again can require just hours of time. That cost, plus the anxiety and frustration, means that identity theft is no laughing matter. Thanks for joining me.